Well, hello there, everyone. Good day. It is John C. Morley here, sir, entrepreneur. Great to be with you on the Inspirations for Your Life show. Had a great evening yesterday, Tuesday, May 26th. That was officially the launch of Drain to Driven and my national author and uh, talk and signing. It took place in Franklin Lakes, and I'll be moving around the United States at various different locations and places to share my personal journey. It was a really special night. Guys, if you've been here before, whether it's one time, two times, five, or 100, I want to take the opportunity to say thank you and welcome back. If this is your very first time, well, of course, welcome. Thanks so much for joining me here. If you're thirsty, you're hungry, or what have you, feel free to go grab something. I have a delicious cup of hot tea here, and it really hits the spot. It's a lemon tea. All right, guys. So we have a great master topic of the week. We always do. And tonight is another great topic. The granular topic for tonight is understanding what belief is. Series 5, Show 22, Episode number 5. And if you're wondering how that ties into our week, well, guys, I'm going to tell you. So the master topic for the entire week is belonging drives action. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So if you haven't checked out believemeachieve.com, why don't you do that after the show is over? You can get my short form content, you can get my long form content, you can get articles, reels, and so much more. So let's kick this show off, all right? Okay. So once again, everyone, I say welcome to you from the bottom of my heart. It is great, like I said, to be here with you, enjoying this delicious cup of lemon tea. You know, there's a moment when everything changes. Not because the world suddenly makes sense. No. Not because the path becomes easier, but because something inside you shifts. You feel it. It's quiet. It's steady. It's real. And that shift is belief. Hey everyone, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, engineer, marketing specialist, video producer, podcast host, coach, keynote speaker, graduate student, passionate lifelong learner. And now, guys, I'm so grateful to be a published author. And on Inspirations for Your Life, I don't just talk about growth. I don't just share quotes. I live it. I experience it every single day of my life. And I've built companies from nothing. I've stood on stages in front of thousands. I've recorded hundreds of episodes. I've coached people through their darkest moments. And I've learned one truth that changes everything. Are you ready? Belief changes behavior. You can't reach your goals without it. You can't lead without it. You can't even move forward without it. And that's exactly what we're breaking down here together today. This episode is called Understand What Belief Is. Yeah, so let's just dive right in. The core truth, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Something I think some people are afraid of. Let me say this clearly. Most people wait for confidence to show up before they will act. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until the path is clear. But that's not how it works, guys. Belief comes first. Belief fuels the action. Belief gives the direction. When you believe something matters, you move toward it. When you don't, you hesitate. When you truly believe, commitment becomes easier. When you doubt, movement slows. So I think that's an important thing to understand. So let me say these truths out loud. These are not just words, these are the foundation of everything we're building here. I think that's hard for some people to believe. Belief, guys, changes behavior. It does. Because our perception creates our reality. And if our perception creates our reality, that's what we are drawn to, right? Number 2, guys, people act on what they trust. Somebody trusts you, well, you're going to go far. But the key, guys, is obtaining that trust. That trust does not accumulate overnight. And people get upset when they can't get it right away. I mean, that's the real point, okay? They get upset. Number 3, confidence starts with belief. Hey, there's a circle there. So belief's important. We can't get confidence until we have belief. Number 4, guys, belief gives us direction. Belief is like the calibration point for our compass, helping us know which way is north. Number 5, what you believe shapes what you do. Let me say that again. What you believe shapes what you do. What you believe shapes what you do. And some people are scared about that because they don't know like what's going to happen or where. Okay. And I think that's hard for some people to understand. Hard for people to understand that. I really do believe that. It's hard for some people. Sometimes they give up. Number 6, people move when they believe it matters. If there's no importance for them or no direct benefit, they're going to stay still. Number 7, trust is the bridge. Yep, it's the bridge. And we have to keep the bridges intact. We don't want to destroy bridges. Even if we don't need them, there's no need to break bridges. Number 8, strong belief lowers hesitation. So when we have a strong belief, our life becomes the life we've always wanted to live, the life we've been waiting for, the life that we were sitting on the sideline begging to go into the game. Okay. That's important. And I think if we can understand that our life is part of a continuum, and we know that where we are happened because of something we did in our life, a thought, a belief, an action. Number 9, guys, belief makes commitment easier. I didn't say that it does it for us. I said that it makes it easier. When we believe something is a certain way, we don't challenge it. We just do it. And I think that's hard for some people. I'm going to help you, but you can't question me. Well, if you can't question somebody, like, that's no good. That's like a dictatorship. Number 10, guys, what feels true gets action. What feels true to your core gets the action. Number 11, the strongest groups are built on belief. Belief. A 3-legged stool has 3 legs, right? Let's think about the fact that if one of those legs broke, the stool would fall. Let's think of that in our life. We need desire, we need belief, and we need expectancy. If either one of those 3 things is not present, we fall down. Number 12, belief creates staying power. It keeps us on our track. Number 13, people invest in what they believe in. A lot of times they don't know why they're doing it, but all they know is that they're doing it because of some feeling they get. Some feeling. I think that's a very important thing to understand that. Understand that. I think of where we are at the moment. Sometimes people wonder why we can't get further, why we keep butting heads at a certain point. It's because of our belief. It's because we don't think we can get further. And we put barricades in our way. We sabotage ourselves. We don't mean to do it, but we're doing it subconsciously. And they're like, oh, I'm just going to give up. Number 14, doubt slows movement. Doubt slows movement. That's interesting. Doubt slows movement. When somebody has a doubt, it's like everything they understood becomes challenged. And now it's like they're afraid because nothing is what they expected it to be. And instead of approaching this with a great mindset, instead of turning lemons into lemonade, they just feel the sour lemons. And the doubt slows the action. It causes this chemical imbalance in our brains to say we're inferior. Number 15, guys, belief fuels participation. When we feel good, we want to do more. We want to help others. We want to take part in things. We want to take part in things. I think that's a hard thing for some people to understand, is that we want to take part in things. And if we could take part in something, then we have a celebration moment. And that celebration moment says, wow, this is pretty incredible. This is pretty impressive. But people get turned off because of one thing. It's about an understanding. And I think that's probably something most people don't realize. And they don't realize it because it doesn't seem to be a weight on their shoulder. You know, people take on more weight every day silently, and they don't seem to stop until they have so much weight on them that they just fall. Oh, what's another pound? What's another pound? Yeah, do that 100 times, and eventually you won't be able to walk with that big backpack on yourself. Number 16, guys, the inner yes comes first. We have to say yes to ourselves. If we don't, no one can do it for us. We have to say yes to ourselves. And we deserve to say yes to ourselves every single day. Every single day, we deserve to say yes to ourselves. I think that's probably one of the most important things, but yet nobody seems to understand. Nobody seems to realize that that thought, that moment that you had can affect not only your entire day, your week, your month, your year. It can affect whether you become successful or whether you flop. Your mind's tough, okay? But let's face this. It comes down to truth. It comes down to truth. And are we being truthful to ourselves, or are we lying to ourselves? That's the question. Are we being true to ourselves, or are we lying to ourselves? Can you answer that question honestly or no? I mean, ask yourself that question. Number 17, guys, people commit when conviction is clear. When they know that they know that they know, they go all the way. But when somebody's like half in, half out, they deplete their energy. They get scared. They lose confidence. Sometimes they don't even start. They might put a foot in and then they immediately pull it out. But sometimes they don't even put even their toe in because they're giving themselves talk in their mind that's negative. We've got to be careful what we say out loud and what we say to ourselves in our mind, because that becomes the program that runs our life subconsciously. Even when we're sleeping, it runs our mind and body. Number 18, guys. Belief is the engine behind consistency. So, John, what really is belief? That's a great question. Belief is knowing that what you're working on, that you're doing, is going to work out. That you're going to achieve your goal or your goals, right? Number 20, guys. Conviction makes decisions easier. But sometimes getting through to conviction can be very challenging for people, right? Because they're lost, because they're confused. And I think when that happens, a lot of people say, well, you know what? I'm not cut out for this. I'm not cut out for this. And because you're not cut out for this, you figure everything is not going to work for you. Everything. And that's about belief, guys. That belief takes you where you're going. Belief takes you where you are going. That's really, really important. I think sometimes we give up before we even get in the car. What do I mean by that? Well, we're going to go somewhere. We're going to do something. But before we even get in the car, before we even put our jacket on, before we even get out of our home or get into the garage, we're like, wait a minute. Maybe I shouldn't go there. Maybe I shouldn't do that. You second doubt and guess yourself because you're like, it's probably not going to work. Somebody else told me that's not going to work. That's hard. And then you put these negative thoughts in your mind. You know what happens? They get amplified. And then they stop you dead in your tracks. At first, it was just something simple that said, you know what? I'm not sure if I can do this. But then you spend time and you harp on it and you make it bigger, bigger, right? What happens with a snowball? It starts really small. What happens when it gets bigger? It rolls and rolls. It gets really big where it can only almost knock somebody down. It can even hurt someone, even kill someone because of the momentum and how big the ball will get. That's what you do to yourself. Number 21, guys. Belief turns intention into follow through. Wow, John, that's a lot of words. I know it is. Belief. Belief. Belief turns the intention into follow through. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought that your belief is basically, we want to think of a circuit, like those of you that like electronics. Belief is that piece, that conduit that closes the circuit, right? Maybe it's the broken wire. It's that piece that carries the circuit together. But many people give up before they even try. They look at the whole thing and they're like, oh, there's no way I can do this. They don't realize they can chunk it. They don't realize they can start things in small units. They don't realize any of that. Number 22, you can feel when someone truly believes. when somebody believes in you, and I can share this because, I had a moment last night at the author talk and signing, the very first one. I felt the room supported me. I felt the room truly believed in me. And I could tell you how I know. I felt the energy coming back to me from the people. I was not tired being there. I got re-energized by the people's energy. Number 23, guys. Belief gives courage a base, a foundation. How can we build a house without a good foundation? We can't. It'll fall apart. And so by having a good foundation, we hopefully will think more positive thoughts. See, usually the negative thoughts come in because of something someone says to us, something we see or we hear. Then we start second guessing ourselves. Or it happens because we're a little unsure. And then before we get the unsureness cleared up, we just tumble down the hill. And by the time we get down, it's like too hard and too late to get back up the hill. You remember the nursery rhyme, right? Jack and Jill went up the hill, both to fetch a pail of water. Jack came down. Jack fell down, broke his crown, and then Jill came tumbling after. Do you fall down? You're broken your crown? Well, seriously, falling down isn't the problem. How many times you fall, I've said this before, it does not matter. It's how many times you get back up. So if you fell 4 times, you got to get up 4 times. If you fell 4 and you only got up 2, you can't, that doesn't work, right? If you fall down 4 times, right, and you got up 3 times, that's a problem. We need to get up as many times as we fall. We need to shake it off ourselves, right? Number 24, shared belief creates a unique unity, a belongingness, which is what we're talking about all week, being belonging together. Number 25, people don't need perfection. They need conviction. Yeah, I know you're probably lost on that. So I'm going to go over to our friends at Merriam-Webster, and we're going to look up exactly from them what they say about conviction, because I think that might help a little bit. Is what does that mean? So conviction, according to Merriam-Webster, it's a noun, the active process of finding a person guilty of a crime, especially in a court of law, the final judgment entered against a defendant after a finding of being guilty, a strong persuasion or a belief. Each person honored with an award has stood tall in their convictions and extending a helping hand to own their community to thrive. The act of convincing a person of an error, of, let's say, compelling the admission of truth, that's a conviction. I think that's something a lot of people stumble on, the act or the process of finding a person guilty. But conviction has positives too. The act of convincing someone that they can do something. As I said, number 25, people don't need perfection. They need conviction. Number 26, belief makes the next step obvious. And when it becomes obvious, people naturally want to move to that step. Number 27, trust the thing that feels aligned. Something you maybe feel, it's a gut feeling, maybe not something you see or hear, but it's just a sense you get. And you react to it. Number 28, belief helps people cross the gap, go over the bridge, excel. I think that's a important thing to understand. And when we know that we know we just feel it a certain way inside. It's not something I can describe to you. It's something you've got to feel internally in your body. Number 29, guys. Strong belief is contagious. So being negative is contagious, and so is being positive contagious. Your thoughts, your energy transfer to someone else. I was with somebody the other night, and I was telling them about my author talk and signing, and it was somebody that I knew, kind of an acquaintance, but I've known them for a while, and I told them about it, and they were looking at a book, and their response, I said, "You should come," and they're like, "Oh." And it was like that was an effort for them. I think when we understand belief and other people don't exhibit it, we know who our true friends are. That's the truth. Number 30, guys. What people believe together becomes real. So the deep explanation here is this. Let me break it down for you one more time. Belief changes behavior. When you believe something is true, you start acting like it's true. People act on what they trust. Confidence starts to be what they believe. Belief gives direction. What you believe shapes what you do. People move when they believe it matters. Trust is the bridge. Strong belief lowers hesitation. Belief makes commitment easier. What feels true gets action. The strongest groups are built on belief. Belief creates staying power. People invest in what they believe in. Doubt will always slow the movement down. Belief fuels the participation. The inner yes comes first. People commit when conviction is clear. Belief is the engine behind consistency. Trust grows belief. Conviction makes decisions easier. Belief turns intention into follow through. You can feel it when someone truly believes. Belief gives courage a base. Shared belief creates unity. People don't need perfection, they need conviction. Belief makes the next step obvious. Trust the thing that feels aligned. Belief helps people cross the gap. Strong belief is contagious. What people believe together becomes real. And that's personal, guys. Very personal. I've been where you are. I've doubted myself when I should have believed. I've waited for the perfect moment that never came. I've held back because I wasn't sure if it would work. And every time I waited for certainty, I lost momentum. I lost entry and the energy, and I lost time. But every time I chose belief, even when I wasn't sure, something shifted. I started moving. I started committing. I started following through. Belief turns intention to follow through. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Be sure to check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. Start believing and start understanding you do belong.